Hello, I'm Debbie Mercer, and I serve as Dean of the College of Education at Kansas State University. And we're thrilled to have you with us today as we visit with Leisha Brooks, who is the Outreach Director at the Southern Poverty Law Center in Montgomery, Alabama. Welcome. Dr. Brooks is dedicated to fighting hate and bigotry and to seeking justice for the most vulnerable members of our society. She's a graduate of Loyola Marymount University and began her career as a teacher. And she soon undertook other positions in social justice organizations, as well as cooperating in a documentary, Bullying, a student, a school, and a case that made history. She's developed programs to fight social injustices in public education. So, Dr. Brooks, we're so glad to have you with us today. It is always such a valuable opportunity for us to hear from educators who are making such a difference. And so we appreciate your time and sharing your expertise with us. So maybe to start out, talk to us about where your passion for education came from, specifically social justice in education.
Well, thank you, Dean Mercer. Thank you for having me today. It's just a pleasure to be at K-State and to talk to some of the faculty members this morning and you this afternoon. Thank you. Well, I think that really my passion for social justice education and education in general probably came together or started in high school. As it happens for a lot of young people. I think that's where you first have your kind of cool teacher that presents the information in such a fascinating way and opens up the world to you. That continued in undergraduate work at Loyola Marymount, where it's a Jesuit institution, and they just present the social justice framework that's used at Loyola Marymount was just very compelling to me. And I studied political science and history and just developed a real love for history, and more importantly, probably sharing that with other people.
Very good. So you talked about high school teachers being mentors and influencers of your path. I think mentorship is so critical. So other role models that influenced your professional path?
Well, I'd have to give credit to my grandmother.
I understand that.
She lived right down the street, and once a week, I believe it was Tuesdays, my siblings and I had to go to her house for dinner. And it wasn't just about her cooking dinner for us, but it was really about us updating her on our studies. And so she just instilled in me at an early age, and my parents as well, but really my grandmother, that education was super, super important. And more importantly, it's something that she really wanted for me. She saw it as a gift. So I appreciate that.
Very good. My grandmother was an important influence in my life as well. So I understand you were an elementary teacher in Los Angeles for several years. Tell us about that experience.
Well, it's completely interesting. I would not ever place myself at an elementary school if I would have thought, oh, you're going to be an elementary school teacher. 5th grade at 95th Street Prep in South Central Los Angeles. And it was the most exceptional experience. I count it as a real gift that I got to work with these students for 6 years. And it happened, I was teaching around the time of the 92 riots in Los Angeles. And our school was really blocks from the epicenter where everything happened. And I was so worried and concerned about my students because I lived in the community and I also taught in the community. So I felt like we were an extended family. The faculty was an extended family to the students. They changed my life. They opened me up. I mean, teaching, you think you're providing this gift to your students when in fact they're giving me so much more. Taught me how to be a better parent even, right? I think the opportunity to work with young people every day did make me a better mom. I used to bring my son to class all the time because he was younger, and they were just always fascinated by that. So being a teacher while he was still a youngster in preschool, I think really helped him develop an appreciation for education. And what else can I tell you about my classroom? It was a bilingual classroom, a lot of migrant students from Mexico and Latin America, and they would come back and forth, which was really tough because I'd get them at the beginning of the school year, and then they may leave in January. The parents would leave for work and come back. It was hard to see them go, but it was wonderful to see them come back. And I was able to really develop some strong Spanish language skills. And more importantly, probably learn a lot more than I would have about that culture and that culture group. So.
Very good. So it sounds like a very foundational piece of your professional career. So were there specific things that happened in your classroom that led you to doing much broader work related to social justice?
Well, it was really an experience that I had post-secondary school. I participated in a human relations training program for high school students called Brotherhood USA. And I continued with that program. It was the National Conference of Christians and Jews, where we talked about building a multiracial, multi-ethnic, interreligious community. And that was really foundational for me as well. So I took what I learned there, and brought that into the classroom. And it really helped me develop a comfort for speaking about issues, because through that camp program, we would talk about race and immigration and anti-Semitism and all of the kind of big issues, sexism. So I had some fluency in talking about these issues before I entered the classroom, and I'm telling you, it really was a lifesaver. Being exposed to diverse cultures in Los Angeles, but more importantly, through the intimate conversations that we had at this camp, really made it possible for me to connect with my students and their families in ways that were super important.
So this morning when you were talking to our faculty, you briefly discussed socially responsive curriculum. And can you tell us just a little bit about the history of that and why that's so important for our new teachers to understand?
Often referred to as socially responsive or culturally responsive pedagogy, and teaching Talent to look at it through a mirrors and windows analogy. We want, well, first of all, students are a diverse group, and teachers, classroom teachers, are not. And the way we're living in the United States, sadly, I think, is that we're living really hyper-segregated lives, right? And so a teacher could be teaching in a school community that does in no way look like the community that they live in, and geographically they're in really different places. So one of the ways that we support teachers in being culturally responsive to the culture of their students is to encourage them and provide resources so that they can have books and literature that reflect the students' cultural background. We want the students to be able to see the curriculum or the content as a mirror. They'll be able to see themselves reflected. So maybe they're looking at how the Garcia sisters lost their accent, if they're Latino. And so the readings become more relevant to them and thereby more interesting to them. It also, though, helps build the trust and the relationship between the student and the teacher, because the student will say, "Oh my gosh, Dean Mercer, thank you for acknowledging me, and you recognized me by offering me this literature." And so it builds the trust and the relationship between teacher and student. And as you know, research shows that a relationship between the student and the teacher is the number one indicator of academic achievement, So it's very important. Then we also want to provide a mirror, a window for students to be able to see cultures outside their window, if you will. I know at K-State you have a big international program, so we're opening up the world. One of the things that made me sad when I was teaching at 95th Street is that we would have a field trip once a year. We only had funding for one field trip. So I would take them at the end of the year and we'd go to the beach. Now, this was Los Angeles, California, 95th Street, in the intercity. And some of those students, the majority of those students had never been to the beach. Never been to the beach. So let alone, kind of some of these other places that we talk about, in our studies. So to be able to open up the world to them is super important. And that's what we mean by kind of culturally or socially responsive pedagogy.
So as you're traveling as outreach director for the Southern Poverty Law Center, talk about some of the current trends and issues that you're seeing schools face, and what are the factors giving rise to those issues?
Well, there's a couple of things going on, and you won't be surprised because, excuse me, what happens on school campuses is just a microcosm of what's happening in the larger society. So for the last kind of few years, anyway, we've been dealing with this whole situation with police violence and the killing of unarmed African American men. So that, for a lot of school campuses, holds a lot of resonance. Either the students are directly affected by this activity or they know people who are. In any case, they are pushing the conversation. Connected to that would be the larger issues of the Black Lives Matter movement, which we see in some ways an extension of the modern American civil rights movement, where even in the 60s, young people acknowledged or called out the social injustices that were happening and began to organizing to address them. And that's what we see happening now. So we see a lot of middle school and high school students engaged in these larger issues of what's going on. More recently, as recent as last year with the presidential election, we're very concerned about the heightened rhetoric around who belongs and who doesn't belong. This mainstreaming, we call it, of hateful rhetoric, quite frankly, calling for the banning of an entire group of people or attributing criminality to an entire race or culture, have really caused repercussions on school campuses, and that's being played out in increased bullying and harassment. So we're very, very concerned about that and trying to offer educators ways to address those issues and make sure that everyone feels safe on campus.
And one of those ways is through the resources that the center provides. So I'm sure you could talk for a very long time, but can you give us just an overview that would help drive students to the website to find what you have available?
You can find anything you absolutely think you need on the Teaching Tolerance website. It's tolerance.org, and it's just a treasure trove of lessons and activities on any issue or any topic. We've just recently released a suite of lessons and activities that address the 2016 election. We also have a package. We've packaged some lessons to help teachers deal with Black Lives Matters and the police violence issues. So whenever there's something kind of that's really going on in the country, our team gets together and packages materials to make it easy for teachers who are looking for something. It's right there and ready to go. But they could, any day of the week, you could come to our website and find exactly what you need. So we have the curriculum, we have reports, we have our magazine, Teaching Tolerance magazine, which offers a lot of long-form journalism that helps to continue the education of teachers in multiculturalism. As you know, most pre-service teachers or teachers education students are only offered a semester, if that, of multicultural education, which is impossible to even begin to have the conversation. So what Teaching Tolerance hopes to do is to continue that and to provide this information and resources that they're no longer getting, at the university.
I think we would both agree that a teacher can have such a positive impact on a child's life. In fact, that's what drives many of us to this profession, is that opportunity for impact. So advice or pointers to people that are in their program preparing to be a teacher?
My advice is to always remember why you entered the profession, that you want. It is the helping profession, and think about why you wanted to enter the classroom in the first place and what it is that you see in yourself as being of value to students. What do you want to deliver to them? And hold on to that. At the same time, recognize the individual student who's in front of you, because they're all different. And you don't want to miss it at all, because the gifts, the treats, the rewards are going to come from each and every one of them. So concentrate on who's in front of you. Never forget that you're a model to them. You're, quite frankly, they're oftentimes spending more time with you than they are with their parents. So always bring your best self to the classroom, and educate them through love.
So any other tips for creating that classroom environment so that not only is it the teacher modeling what you've just described, but the teacher ensuring that that's the culture of the classroom?
One of the big things that we do at Teaching Tolerance is to help improve school climate. And we want all schools to be safe and inclusive of every single person in the classroom. And what teachers do and know they need to do is establish some respectful ground rules at the very beginning of the year. I remember, you get so much advice in your first teaching career. Don't smile until Christmas. You've got to go in tough. You can go in and establish what your classroom is going to be, what this community is going to be. What we encourage teachers to do is to build the community and spend some time in those first weeks or first months building and establishing a community where everyone feels heard, and call out bigotry and hurtful words immediately as soon as you hear them, and empower all the students in the classroom to do the same. Make it possible for the students to always let you know when they're feeling uncomfortable by what you said or by what another student said, and be consistent in how you the standards that you have around behavior for your classroom, and treat everyone with dignity and respect. Demand that they treat everyone else in the classroom with dignity and respect, and before you know it, they'll be telling you.
And that's what you want,
That's
is
right.
that dialogue,
That's exactly
that
right.
conversation.
That's exactly
That's phenomenal. So we've covered a lot of topics. Any last thoughts that you would like to leave with us?
I'm just so appreciative of every single person who decides to go into education. So if I could just share with your students that gratitude and encouragement. And you've got to know that it's not a profession that gets a lot of kudos, but you're doing wonderful work, and you're building the next community. It's just so important. So thank you, and thank you, Dean, for what you do to build educators the educators that we need.
Good. Thank you. And Dr. Brooks, thank you so much for being here with us. And thank you for joining in today.
Hey, thanks for watching our video. If you want to see some other cool things that our college is doing, you can hit the subscribe button below. Or in the meantime, you can check out some other cool videos here. We'll see you next time.